What if I told you the elite have been using the hidden secrets of quantum physics to manipulate reality, your reality? While you struggle through life, they tap into unseen forces to shape wealth, power, and influence in their favor. But here's the truth. They don't want you to know how to do it yourself. In this video, we expose their secrets and show you how to take back control of your mind, energy, and future. No fluff, no BS, just real knowledge that can change everything for you. Are you ready? What if everything you've been told about reality is only half the truth? Scientists have spent decades uncovering the mysteries of quantum physics. Yet the most powerful people in the world have been using these discoveries to their own advantage while feeding the public a limited, watered-down version. They understand that reality is not as fixed as it seems, that everything around us, including thoughts, emotions, and even physical matter, is made of energy and vibration. And when you control energy, you control outcomes. The elites aren't just rich or powerful by chance. They know exactly how to manipulate the unseen forces that shape reality. The question is, why aren't you taught any of this? Why is quantum physics kept locked away in complex equations, while those at the top quietly use it to build empires, influence global events, and manipulate the masses? There's a reason why billionaires and world leaders invest heavily in quantum research. They're not just curious about science. They're learning how to bend reality to their will. One of the most fascinating aspects of quantum physics is the observer effect. It reveals that the very act of observing something changes its behavior. Think about that. Reality shifts depending on how it is observed. Now imagine a handful of people controlling what the majority of the world sees. Media narratives, financial trends, political ideologies. By controlling the information you consume, they are literally shaping your reality without you even realizing it. Every time a crisis is amplified, every time fear is pushed to the forefront, every time you're told what to believe, your perception is being influenced at a quantum level. And the more you accept their version of reality, the less control you have over your own. But it goes deeper. Quantum entanglement suggests that two particles can be connected across vast distances, influencing each other instantly. This isn't just some abstract scientific principle. It's a reflection of how power operates in the real world. The elite have created an interconnected system where wealth, politics, and media are all entangled. They don't act as individuals. They act as a collective force, making moves behind the scenes that ripple across industries and governments. This is why major events often seem suspiciously coordinated. While the average person struggles with isolated problems, job security, debt, mental stress, the elite operate as a unified network, ensuring that the odds always favor them. And then there's the law of resonance, which most people unknowingly fall victim to. At a fundamental level, everything vibrates at a certain frequency, including your thoughts and emotions. Fear, anger, and stress vibrate at lower frequencies, while confidence, clarity, and abundance exist at higher ones. The elite understand that by keeping the masses in a state of anxiety and distraction, they suppress their ability to create meaningful change. Look at the constant stream of negative news, the endless cycles of outrage, the fear-based marketing that keeps people chasing superficial solutions. It's all designed to keep you in a low vibrational state where you remain reactive instead of proactive. Because the moment you shift your frequency, the game changes. The truth is, quantum physics doesn't just work for them. It works for everyone. The problem is, most people don't even realize they're playing the game. The power of your thoughts, the energy of your emotions, the way you perceive reality all influence what you attract into your life. But instead of being taught how to harness this power, society conditions you to believe that success is only about hard work and luck. Have you ever wondered why so many self-made billionaires talk about visualization, meditation, and mindset? They understand something that's never taught in school. Your consciousness interacts with the quantum field, shaping your experiences in ways science is only beginning to understand. But here's where things get truly eye-opening. The same principles the elite use to maintain control can be used to break free from their system. It starts with shifting your awareness. The moment you stop seeing reality as something fixed and start recognizing it as fluid, you regain power over your life. Your thoughts are not just random mental noise. They are signals that influence the energy around you. What you focus on expands. What you believe becomes your experience. If you ever felt stuck, unable to break free from cycles of struggle, it's not because you're unlucky, it's because you've been conditioned to operate at a lower frequency. The elite use quantum visualization techniques to manifest their goals with precision. While most people second-guess themselves and remain trapped in doubt, they move with certainty, already seeing their success before it happens. But you don't need wealth or connections to do the same. When you start aligning your thoughts, emotion, and actions with a clear vision, you begin influencing reality in ways that seem almost supernatural. This isn't magic, it's physics. The problem is, most people never try. They're too caught up in distractions, consumed by fear, convinced that change is impossible. And that's exactly what those in power want. So the real question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to continue playing by the rules designed to keep you small, or are you going to take control of your reality? The choice has always been yours. But now, for the first time, you truly understand what's at stake. They don't want you to know how reality really works. While most people believe that life is random, unpredictable, or dictated by luck, the elite operate on a completely different understanding, one rooted in quantum principles that allow them to shape events in their favor. The most powerful individuals don't just react to the world. They manipulate it at a fundamental level, using techniques that the average person has never been taught. If you've ever wondered why the same people always seem to stay on top, why major events often feel suspiciously coordinated, or why certain families and corporations continue to dominate for generations, the answer isn't as simple as wealth or connections. It goes deeper than that. They know something most people don't. One of the most mind-bending discoveries in quantum physics is the observer effect, which proves that simply observing something changes its behavior. Think about the implications of that for a second. Reality itself is altered by perception. Now consider who controls the information that reaches you every single day. The news you consume, the financial trends you follow, the narratives you believe to be true. If your perception is being shaped, then so is your reality. The elite understand that by controlling what people see, they can influence what people believe, and by influencing belief, they shape outcomes. It's why media is filled with fear-driven headlines. It's why political campaigns focus on division. It's why financial markets swing wildly based on speculation. They control the observation, and in doing so, they control the results. But there's something even more disturbing at play. Quantum entanglement reveals that two particles can be connected across vast distances, instantly affecting each other regardless of space or time. This isn't just some abstract scientific concept. It's a reflection of how power truly operates. The elite aren't just individuals working alone. They are interconnected, part of a carefully constructed system where wealth, influence, and decision-making ripple across the world in ways the average person can't see. This is why billionaires, politicians, and media moguls always seem to act in sync. It's not a coincidence. It's entanglement. When a new financial trend suddenly emerges, when governments around the world introduce eerily similar policies, when the same companies rise to dominance no matter what happens, it's all part of the same network of control. You are led to believe these are independent events, but in reality, they are all connected, playing out in a way that ensures power remains concentrated in the hands of a few. The most powerful force they use against you is the law of resonance. Quantum physics proves that everything vibrates at a specific frequency, including thoughts, emotions, and even entire societies. The energy you operate at determines what you attract. Fear and stress exist at lower frequencies, while confidence, clarity, and abundance exist at higher ones. Now think about what you are exposed to every day. Fear-driven news cycles, economic uncertainty, divisive politics, constant distractions. It's not an accident. They flood society with low vibrational energy because they know that when people operate in a state of fear, anxiety, and survival mode, they become easier to control. People who are constantly stressed don't think clearly. They don't question authority. They don't focus on growth, expansion, or breaking free from the system. They stay trapped. And the longer they remain in that state, the harder it becomes to shift out of it. But here's where things get interesting. The very laws that the elite use to maintain control can also be used to break free. The observer effect doesn't just apply to media narratives. It applies to your own life. The moment you start consciously observing your thoughts, emotions, and surroundings, you begin shifting the reality you experience. The moment you stop allowing fear to dictate your decisions, you start resonating at a different frequency, one that attracts new opportunities, clarity, and power. They rely on people not knowing this. They rely on people thinking their circumstances are fixed, that they are powerless to change. But nothing is truly fixed. The quantum field is constantly shifting, responding to the energy that is put into it. The only reason their system continues to work is because people unconsciously play along. The elite use quantum visualization techniques to make their reality happen before it even unfolds. While most people second-guess their dreams and hesitate on their goals, they move with absolute certainty. They see their success before it happens. They align their thoughts, emotion, and action so precisely that their outcomes seem inevitable. But you don't need wealth or status to do the same. You only need awareness and discipline. The moment you start aligning your mind and energy with a clear vision, reality begins adjusting to match it. This isn't wishful thinking. It's physics. The reason most people never experience this is because they never try. They are too caught up in distractions, too consumed by fear, too convinced that change is impossible. And that is exactly what those in power want. So now you have a choice. You can continue operating in the reality they have constructed for you, shaped by the perceptions they control. Or you can take back that power, shift your awareness, and start using the same principles to shape your own future. Most people will never do this. Most will continue living on autopilot, unknowingly reinforcing the very system that keeps them stuck. But if you've made it this far, you're not most people. The question is, what will you do with what you now know? They have always known the truth, that reality is not as rigid as you've been taught to believe. While most people live their lives reacting to circumstances, the elite operate on a completely different level. They don't just navigate the world, they shape it. They understand that the universe is not just a collection of physical objects, but an intricate web of energy, vibration, and consciousness. And they know how to manipulate it. What are the thoughts you think and the emotions you feel are not just internal experiences, but signals that interact with reality itself? What if the key to power has never been about working harder, but about aligning your mind in a way that forces reality to bend in your favor? Quantum physics is slowly beginning to confirm what ancient wisdom has hinted at for centuries. Consciousness influences the material world. Your thoughts are not just random electrical signals in your brain. They are energetic frequencies that interact with everything around you. This is why two people can grow up in the same environment, but experience completely different lives. One remains stuck in struggle, while the other rises above and creates something extraordinary. It's not just about luck, intelligence, or opportunity. It's about the energy they emit and how that energy affects what they attract. The elite know this. They use it to construct the lives they want while keeping the masses distracted, unaware of their own power. Most people unknowingly sabotage themselves by allowing their minds to be flooded with doubt, fear, and negativity. They think in terms of limitations, problems, and obstacles, never realizing that by doing so, they are sending out signals that reinforce those very experiences. Reality responds to the dominant energy you put out. The elite never allow themselves to be trapped in a mindset of scarcity or helplessness. They move with an unwavering belief in their own success, seeing it as inevitable long before it materializes. This isn't just confidence. It's a calculated understanding of how the quantum field operates. They visualize their goals with absolute clarity, feeling the emotions of success before it happens. And because reality mirrors consciousness, the opportunities, people, and circumstances they need begin to show up effortlessly. The reason most people never experience this is because they've been conditioned to believe that their thoughts don't matter, that their emotions are just passing reactions to life rather than the very forces shaping it. From the moment you are born, you are programmed to see yourself as a powerless individual in a world that operates outside of your control. You are taught to chase external solutions, to work harder, to follow the system, never realizing that the real game is being played at an energetic level. The elite don't follow the same rules. They don't waste energy on things that lower their vibration. They don't engage in negativity, fear-based thinking, or limiting beliefs. They consciously choose what to focus on because they understand that what they focus on expands. This is why they invest so much into practices that the average person ignores. Meditation, visualization, and energy alignment are not just New Age concepts to them. They are tools. Tools that allow them to remain in control of their internal state no matter what happens externally. When they set an intention, they don't just wish for it. They embody it as if it has already happened. This creates a shift in the quantum field, rearranging circumstances in ways that seem almost supernatural to those who don't understand what's happening. But it's not supernatural. It's physics, and it's available to everyone. The problem is, most people will never use it. They will continue to believe that their circumstances are the result of external forces rather than internal alignment. They will keep waiting for the perfect opportunity, the right timing, the lucky break, not realizing that they are the ones creating their own delays. They will continue letting their energy be drained by distractions, arguments, and problems that don't matter. And as long as they stay trapped in that cycle, nothing will change. Meanwhile, the elite will keep using the same principles to expand their power, knowing that most people will never break free from their conditioning. But what happens when you do break free? What happens when you stop accepting reality as something fixed and start consciously shaping it? The moment you shift your internal state, the external world begins to shift in response. The people, opportunities, and resources you need start showing up with almost no effort. Challenges that once seemed impossible begin resolving themselves. The life that once felt out of reach starts unfolding in ways that can't be explained by logic alone. This is not a coincidence. It is a direct result of operating from a higher level of awareness. The elite have always known this. The question is, now that you know, what will you do with it? Most people will hear this and continue living the same way, trapped in the same patterns. But for those who are willing to test this for themselves, everything is about to change. Reality is not happening to you. It is responding to you. The moment you understand that, you are no longer controlled by the system. You become the one shaping it. They have designed a world where you feel powerless, where every system around you is built to keep you in a cycle of survival, reaction, and distraction. But what if you had more control than you've been led to believe? What if the very fabric of reality is not as fixed as it seems? While most people accept the world as it is, the elite understand that reality is malleable, shaped by unseen forces that they have mastered. They don't live by chance or luck. They use precise methods to bend circumstances in their favor. And the most powerful tool they have is your own mind. Because if they can control what you think, they can control what you create. The way reality manifests is not random. It follows patterns dictated by consciousness. Quantum physics has already proven that observation changes the behavior of particles, meaning your awareness directly impacts what happens around you. The elite know this, and they use it against you. They flood the media with narratives that induce fear, uncertainty, and doubt because they understand that a fearful mind attracts chaos. They manipulate economic cycles, making people believe that financial hardship is inevitable, ensuring that the masses never reach true freedom. They engineer distractions, entertainment, meaningless debates, constant notifications, so that you never have the time or energy to focus on what truly matters. The more overwhelmed and reactive you are, the less power you have to shape your own reality. But this is where the real secret comes in. Just as external forces can shape your perception, you have the ability to shift your awareness and reshape your reality. Your thoughts are not passive. They are signals that influence the quantum field. When you operate from a mindset of scarcity, lack, and doubt, you reinforce those experiences in your life. But when you start shifting your focus to what you truly want, aligning your thoughts, emotions, and energy with your desired reality, things begin to change. The elite use this principle with absolute precision. They don't just hope for success. They decide it, feel it, and act as if it is already done. And because reality mirrors consciousness, it becomes true. Most people never experience this because they are too caught up in distractions. They let external circumstances dictate their internal state, instead of realizing that the opposite is true. The moment you start consciously directing your attention, you begin to shift your personal frequency. The people, opportunities, and resources that once seemed impossible to reach start aligning with you in ways that seem almost too perfect to be real. But this is not coincidence. It is a formula, one that has been used by the most powerful individuals throughout history, and one that has been deliberately kept hidden from the masses. But here's the catch, knowing this is not enough. The elite don't just understand these principles. They live by them. They protect their energy, they control their focus, and they eliminate anything that weakens their state of mind. They are not controlled by fear, negativity, or distractions because they know that their internal world creates their external results. If you truly want to shift your reality, you have to take control of your mind. You have to become hyper-aware of what you allow into your consciousness. Every thought, every belief, every emotion is shaping your future in ways you cannot see in the moment, but will inevitably become your reality. The reason most people stay stuck is that they never fully commit to this shift. They try for a day or two, then revert back to their old patterns, convincing themselves that change is impossible. But those who truly apply these principles see results that others cannot explain. They start noticing synchronicities, things lining up in ways that defy logic. They attract opportunities with almost no effort. They move through life with a sense of control that others mistake for luck. But it's not luck. It's the result of working with reality instead of being controlled by it. The elite never question whether this works. They have seen it in action too many times to doubt it. They have used it to build empires, shift markets, and create movements. They understand that the rules of reality are not what people have been taught, and they count on most people never realizing this. Because the moment you wake up to your true power, you become impossible to control. The systems designed to keep you in fear and limitation lose their hold. You stop being a passive player in someone else's game and start creating your own. And once you see how deep this truth runs, you can never go back to the way things were. They have always relied on one thing to keep their power intact: your ignorance. Not because you aren't capable, not because you lack intelligence, but because you have been conditioned to doubt yourself at every level. The greatest trick they ever pulled was making you believe that your thoughts, your emotions, and your energy don't have a direct impact on reality. Because the moment you realize they do, everything changes. The game shifts. You stop reacting to the world and start creating it. And that is the one thing they don't want. The way reality works is not some abstract philosophy. It is precise. The people who understand how to align their consciousness with their desires always seem to, luckily, get what they want. But it's not luck. It is a direct consequence of knowing how the universe responds to thought, emotion, and focus. The elite don't just stumble upon wealth, power, and influence. They cultivate an unshakable state of mind that aligns with exactly what they want, while making sure the majority of people remain stuck in confusion, self-doubt, and distraction. Because as long as you are overwhelmed, struggling, and lost in a maze of fear, you will never discover the simple truth that has been used against you all along. Every time you dwell on a negative thought, every time you allow doubt to take root in your mind, every time you let someone else's fear dictate your choices, you are reinforcing a reality that keeps you stuck. They have known this for generations, which is why they control the narratives that fill your mind. They understand that if they can keep you focused on problems, economic crashes, political chaos, social conflicts, you will unconsciously attract more of the same into your life. They want you to feel small, powerless, incapable of breaking free. Because the moment you take control of your focus, you take control of your future. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Every single person who has ever risen to true power has done so by mastering their inner world first. They knew, long before they achieved success, that they were going to get exactly what they wanted. They didn't second-guess it. They didn't hesitate. They didn't allow external circumstances to dictate their belief in themselves. And because they maintained that certainty, reality had no choice but to align in their favor. Meanwhile, the masses live in a constant state of uncertainty, fear, and hesitation, never realizing that this very state is what keeps them from moving forward. Most people will hear this and dismiss it. They will say it sounds too simple, too unrealistic, too new age. But the truth is, they don't reject it because it isn't real. They reject it because accepting it would mean taking full responsibility for their lives. And that is terrifying to most. It is easier to believe that external circumstances are to blame, that luck or fate determines who succeeds and who doesn't. But the elite have never relied on luck. They have always known that the real power lies in mastering the mind, controlling focus, and maintaining absolute certainty in their own success. The moment you stop waiting for permission, the moment you decide that you are in control, things begin shifting in ways you cannot explain. People, opportunities, and circumstances start aligning, as if by magic. But it isn't magic. It is the natural consequence of working with the laws of reality instead of against them. The elite have been doing this for centuries. They have built entire empires while keeping this knowledge just out of reach from the masses. But once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And once you begin applying it, you start to understand why they never wanted you to know in the first place. You have two choices. You can continue living the way they want you to, reactive, uncertain, waiting for external circumstances to improve. Or you can take control, shift your focus, and start creating reality on your terms. Most people will choose the first option because it's easier, because it's what they have always known. But those who choose the second option will never live the same way again. Because once you tap into this truth, once you take control of your mind and energy, you become unstoppable. And that is the one thing they never wanted to happen. Everything around you is energy, vibrating at different frequencies. Your thoughts, emotions, and even your physical body are all emitting signals that interact with the world around you. But what if those signals were being manipulated without you even realizing it? The elite have mastered the control of frequency, not just in a metaphorical sense, but in a very real, scientific way. They know that the key to keeping people trapped isn't just controlling information, it's controlling vibration. If they can keep you locked into a low-frequency state, they can ensure that you never break free from the invisible prison they have built. And the most dangerous part? Most people never even suspect that it's happening. Look around. Everywhere you go, you are surrounded by signals designed to keep you in a specific energetic state. The constant negativity in the media, the carefully crafted fear campaigns, the rise of social division, all of it is designed to keep your vibration low. When you are in a state of fear, anxiety, or frustration, your energy contracts, making it nearly impossible for you to create the life you want. You become stuck in survival mode, reacting instead of creating, always looking for the next crisis, instead of realizing that you have the power to shape your own reality. The elite understand that a person vibrating at a high frequency is dangerous to their control. Someone who is calm, focused, and aligned with their true power is immune to fear-based manipulation. That's why they go to such extreme lengths to ensure that you never reach that state. But it doesn't stop at media and social conditioning. The very environment you live in is designed to interfere with your natural frequency. From the artificial lighting in your home to the electromagnetic fields surrounding you at all times, you are constantly being bombarded with signals that disrupt your natural energy. Have you ever noticed how different you feel when you step away from technology, spend time in nature, or simply sit in silence? That's because your natural state is one of balance and clarity. But the world you live in has been carefully constructed to pull you away from that. And the longer you remain disconnected from your true energy, the easier you are to control. They don't want you to know that frequency is everything. They don't want you to realize that raising your vibration is the key to breaking free. The moment you begin to shift your energy, you start to see reality differently. Situations that once seemed impossible start aligning effortlessly. People who used to drain your energy begin to fade away. Opportunities that once felt out of reach start appearing, as if by magic. But it's not magic. It's physics. The universe responds to frequency. And once you shift yours, the world around you has no choice but to adjust. The elite don't leave this to chance. They meticulously control their environment, their energy, and their focus. They use sound frequencies, visualization techniques, and energy practices to maintain their state of power. They make sure that nothing lowers their vibration because they know that their reality is a direct reflection of their energy. Most people will never realize this. They will continue to live in a world designed to keep them distracted, drained, and disconnected. They will spend their lives reacting to external circumstances instead of realizing that they have the power to change them. But those who understand this truth, those who take control of their energy, will experience reality in a completely different way. They will begin to see through the illusions, the distractions, and the fear tactics. They will recognize when their energy is being manipulated and will take steps to protect themselves. And most importantly, they will understand that they are not victims of reality. They are creators of it. You have a choice. You can continue living in a world that has been designed to control you, or you can take back control of your frequency. You can choose to become aware of the signals being sent to you, the emotions you are being conditioned to feel, and the energy that is being drained from you every day. And once you make that choice, everything begins to change. The moment you start to take control of your own energy, you break free from the invisible chains that have held you back. And once you do that, there is nothing they can do to stop you. Everything they use against you can be turned back on them. The manipulation, the conditioning, the psychological tricks. None of it works once you know how the game is played. The elite don't rely on random chance or luck to stay in control. They use precise techniques, repeated consistently, to shape reality in their favor. And the biggest secret of all? Anyone can do it. The same methods they use to keep you trapped can be reversed to set you free. They program reality by controlling belief, emotions, and focus. So what happens when you take control of those same things? The entire system begins to fall apart. Most people have no idea how much of their reality is dictated by subconscious programming, the beliefs they hold, the thoughts that dominate their minds, and even the emotions they feel daily are not entirely their own. From the moment you are born, you are conditioned to think and behave in ways that serve someone else's agenda. Repetition is the most powerful tool they use. If you hear something enough times, you start to accept it as truth, even if it's a lie. They tell you that success is reserved for the lucky few, that you must struggle to survive, that your dreams are unrealistic. They repeat these ideas through media, education, and social structures until they become deeply embedded in your mind. But what happens when you flip the script? What happens when you start feeding your mind new, intentional beliefs? Reality begins to shift in ways you never thought possible. The subconscious mind is like a machine. It runs on whatever programming it receives, whether it's positive or negative. The elite understand this, which is why they make sure the average person is constantly absorbing negativity, fear, and limitation. They know that if you are constantly focused on what's wrong in the world, your subconscious will create more of the same, but you can take that power back. Instead of allowing them to control your focus, you can take deliberate action to reprogram your subconscious with thoughts that serve you. This is not about wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is about rewiring your mind at a fundamental level so that success, confidence, and abundance become automatic. Think about the way the elite maintain their influence. They surround themselves with symbols of power, reinforce their beliefs daily, and operate with absolute certainty that they will succeed. They don't hope for success. They expect it. They train their minds to reject doubt before it even takes hold. And because they operate from that level of conviction, reality bends in their favor. This is not coincidence. It is a direct result of mental discipline. And it is something you can apply in your own life starting right now. The key is consistency. Just as they use repetition to condition you into feeling powerless, you can use repetition to condition yourself into feeling unstoppable. But there is something else they do that most people completely overlook. They understand the power of emotional energy. It's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about feeling them. When you attach strong emotion to a belief, it becomes infinitely more powerful. That is why they use fear so effectively. Fear is a strong emotional charge, and when people feel it intensely, they manifest the very things they are afraid of. But this works both ways. If you learn to attach powerful emotions to your desires, to your goals, and to your beliefs about yourself, you create an unstoppable force. This is why confidence is so powerful. It is not just a mindset, it is an energy. And when you master that energy, you begin to experience reality differently. They have spent generations perfecting these techniques, but they cannot stop you from using them. They cannot prevent you from taking control of your mind, your emotions, and your focus. The moment you do, everything begins to shift. You start to see the world for what it really is. Not a place where you are a passive observer, but a system that responds to the energy you put out. You start attracting opportunities that once seemed impossible. People begin to treat you differently. Situations that once caused stress and anxiety no longer have power over you. The more you take control, the more you realize that the limits you thought were real were never real at all. They were just part of the illusion. You have always had the ability to shape your own reality. The only thing standing in your way was a belief that you couldn't. They made sure you believed that because it was the only way they could maintain control. But once you break free from that belief, there is nothing left for them to hold on to. Their power over you disappears. And when that happens, you stop being a pawn in their game and start playing by your own rules. Everything you've been told about reality, about power, about your own potential, it's all been carefully crafted to keep you in line. They have spent generations perfecting the art of control, using fear, distraction, and manipulation to make sure you never realize the truth. But now you know. Now you understand how they operate, how they shape your thoughts, how they influence your emotions, and how they use quantum principles against you. The question is, what are you to do about it? Knowing the truth is not enough. Awareness without action changes nothing. The world will not shift just because you understand how it works. It only changes when you take control and start playing a game on your own terms. Right now, you have a choice. You can walk away, forget what you've learned, and continue living in the system they built for you. You can keep consuming the same programming, reacting to the same distractions, and letting someone else dictate the direction of your life. Or you can take a step that most people never take. You can decide right now that you refuse to be controlled any longer. You can make the choice to break free, not just in theory, but in action. And once you make that choice, everything starts to shift. The moment you commit to taking back control, the world begins to respond to you differently. The distractions lose their power. The fear no longer affects you. The invisible forces that once kept you trapped start to fade because you no longer resonate with them. But this isn't something that happens overnight. The elite have spent decades shaping your beliefs, and undoing that conditioning requires effort. You will have to reprogram your mind, train yourself to think differently, and become conscious of the energy you put out. You will need to stop reacting to their games and start creating your own reality. It won't be easy. Most people will never even attempt it because they are too afraid to step outside of what they know. But those who do, they are the ones who become unstoppable. They are the ones who break through limitations, who rise above manipulation, who start attracting success, power, and influence effortlessly. Because once you take control of your frequency, nothing can hold you back. This is the real secret they don't want you to know. It's not about fighting the system or exposing every detail of their control. It's about making them irrelevant. The moment you stop playing their game, they lose all power over you. You don't need permission to change your life. You don't need validation. You don't need anyone to tell you it's possible. You just need to decide. Decide that from this moment forward, you will no longer operate on autopilot. Decide that you will no longer accept the limitations they have placed on you. Decide that your mind, your energy, and your reality belong to you and no one else. Most people won't do this. They will hear the truth, feel the spark of curiosity, and then go right back to their normal routines. They will tell themselves they don't have time, that it's too hard, that maybe this is just another theory with no real impact. And that is exactly what the elite count on. They don't need to force control onto people. They simply make sure that most people never take action. But you are not most people. You would not have made it this far if something inside you wasn't already questioning everything. You would not have stayed engaged if you didn't already feel that something about this resonates deep within you. That feeling is not an accident. It is the part of you that has always known you were meant for more. The part of you that refuses to be a pawn in someone else's game. The part of you that is ready to take back control. So what happens next? That is entirely up to you. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the perfect moment to break free. The choice has to come from you. You can either stay where you are, continuing to live by their rules, or you can take the first step towards something greater. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter how big or small the action is. What matters is that you do something. Shift your focus. Change your energy. Start training your mind to work for you instead of against you. The moment you start, you will feel it. The shift, the power, the undeniable truth that you were never meant to be controlled. The only question left is, are you ready to claim it?